So welcome to my last segment before I pass the baton over to Jonathan Powell to cover some more extended education in this patterns world that we're doing right now. But before I leave, I wanted to share with you some common circular progressions, some common ones that you'll hear in gospel music. So let's start with the basic 1-4 progression. So in the key of D flat, for example, the same key I use for gospel keys 202, this is just the 1 chord going to the 4 chord. 1 chord, 4 chord. Or we can go here. 1 chord, 4 chord. Just get used to doing that kind of movement because it's very popular. What I'm playing is D flat on my left and F, A flat, D flat on my right. And then I'm moving up to G flat on my bass and G flat, A flat, B flat, and D flat. Okay, now to make that a little better, I like to play what I call a chordal chord on my right hand. And since you now know what the circle of fifths, circle of fourths is, it's actually 3 notes on the circle of fifths. E flat, A flat, and D flat. They're fourths apart. E flat, go up a fourth. A flat, go up another fourth. D flat, just like we went up fifths, well, go up fourths, or go counterclockwise on the circle, and you'll see that E flat, A flat, D flat, they're neighbors. But play that with D flat, and it's a nice chord. And then when I get to the G flat, instead of playing the G flat on my right hand like I was doing, I'll lower it to F. And what that'll do, it'll give me a G flat major 7th. And actually, yeah, it's a major 7th with F, B flat, and D flat. And what I was gonna say is that, do you see another chord? It's actually a B flat minor chord as well. So there's a fine line between minor and major, as you can see. You put a minor triad with a certain bass note, it's called a polychord, but you get yourself a totally different chord. So that's how I remember stuff too, that, okay, if I just know the B flat minor, which is the 6th tone in the scale, play the 6th chord in that scale as a minor chord over the 4 bass, which is G flat in that scale, and I got myself a major 7th chord all day long. So that's a common worship chord. Some people like to connect it with the 3 bass. Little stepwise motion there. Jesus, you know, that's very common. That 1 going to, you're the only one God. You know, there's a lot of songs like that. Hallelujah, hallelujah. You know, so 1 going to 4. That's probably the most common circular progression because the 1 has this really big tendency to go to the 4. The next one is probably the 2 to the 5. My favorite 2 chord is this E flat minor 11. I'm playing E flat on my left, G flat, B flat, D flat, F, and A flat. Again, G flat, B flat, D flat, F, and A flat. And what is that? That's actually a G flat major 9 on my right hand, but then when you put it with the E flat on the left hand, it creates a minor chord. Usually it's the opposite. Here's a trick for you. When you're playing a major chord on your right hand, and then you find the 6th tone of that major chord, because what's the 6th tone of G flat? It's E flat, which is the relative minor, as we learned in previous lessons. That'll always give you a fancy minor chord. So major on the right hand with the relative bass gives you a minor chord. And as you learned in the last tone, minor on the right hand with a certain bass note gives you the opposite, gives you a nice pretty major chord. So major, minors, fine line. But I like this chord. And then the reason I like this chord is because if you just change your bass, which is the 5th tone of this key, to A flat, you don't even have to change the right hand. And then you can come home. So that's a 2-5. Now, when you come home, it's a 2-5-1. So that's very common. That last chord, simply a D flat major chord, add 9. So what I'm doing, D flat on my left hand, A flat, D flat, E flat, F, and A flat. You can roll it, You can roll it down. It's called descending, or you can roll it up. And that's very pretty too. Some people like to lower these two notes right here, this B flat and D flat, this minor third interval between them. They'll go, and you can roll it down, you can roll it up, and it has some tension in it. And then you can come home. So that's another common progression. And notice, I'm just going up the tones. So we got the 1 going to the 4. We got the 2 going to the, that's another one. Just lowering the D flat to C. We got the 2-5. Another one. That's a particular 3-6, and this is the particular way to play it. So you have F on your bass, and then just play this big old A flat major 9 chord. If you can't play the 9, leave out the B flat. But it's A flat, C, E flat, G, and B flat. And this is a 3 chord. Remember my rule, whenever you're playing some kind of big major chord on your right hand, usually, and if you play that relative minor, you're gonna create a really nice minor chord. This happens to be a minor 11 when you do this. And then we're gonna play a diminished chord on our right hand. This is a G sharp diminished chord. You can call it A flat, but G sharp's a lot easier because I can just say G sharp, B, D, F, G sharp. And you can roll it down. Now when you play it this way, it makes it a B flat 7, flat 9. Okay, so see this? It's called C flat. And then what will that do? Remember circular movement. The 3 takes you to the 6, but where does the 6 take you? Remember? 34 principle. 6 minus 4 equals 2. Remember that 2 chord? And then we can go to that, and then we can come home. Or I like that chordal chord too. Instead of doing a chordal chord down here, remember chordal chords have 4th intervals. That's a 4th, that's a 4th. Well, that sounds good too. So 3, 6, that's a common circular movement. And it'll take you to a 2 chord. Usually that 2 chord will take you to a 5 chord, and that'll take you home to the 1. So you see this big old circle. It's like you're going that way, that way, that way, that way. It's like a circle, you know, it's kind of like this. You know, I'm trying to make a circle out of it, but just imagine going boom, 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 you know, that's like a circle, you know? Just imagine that circular movement there. But really it comes from circle fifths. Same thing, the 4, you know, the 4 likes to take you places too. It likes to take you to the 7th tone of the scale. It repeats this big old circle. 7 takes you to 3, 6 takes you to 2, 5 takes you to 1, 4 takes you to 7, you know? Or really the 4 takes you to the flat 7, but that's going outside of the key. That's not a diatonic chord. But usually when you're just trying to stay diatonic, you know, like when people get to the 4, they usually, they'll go to the 7, 3, 6 from the 4. So it's this big old circle. 4 leads to 7, 7 leads to 3. So you can do that. You can go, here's a nice 4 chord I like to play. G flat on the left, B flat on the right, E flat, F, and B flat. So it's really like a B flat, F, B flat, 5th interval with the E flat added in. And then we just go to the 7. The 7th of the key is C. Okay, so you got B flat, E flat, and G flat. And then that'll take you to the 3, but I remember I taught you this 3. This is a different kind of 3. This is that sharp 9, sharp 5. Remember we talked about this? It's F on the left, A, C sharp, E flat, and G sharp. And then this another 3. That was 1 3, but this is another 3. And we talk about this in Gospel Keys 202. And then a really cool voicing after that chord is on the 6, because we know the 3 takes you to the 6. And a cool thing to play is pretty much a D flat major 7 on your right hand, which is A flat, C, D flat, and F. And I'm not trying to really teach you a bunch of voices here. These are just examples of circular movements. You'll learn songs in the song station from scratch to finish. A flat, C, D flat, E flat over B flat. So you kind of have a song here. You got the G flat going to the C to F, B flat. A lot of songs end like that, Or you can just do worship like that. And then, when the song is ready to end, and then it'll just end, but that's the 4. The 5, we know it comes home. We already studied that when we did the 2, 5, just use the 34 principle. It's coming home. The 6, okay, we already know 6 minus 4, remember? Down 4, up 3, down 4, up 3, down 4, up 3, down 4. That's my 34 principle. It's usually coming to the 2. So if you find yourself on the 6, whether it's this minor 9 chord we just covered, or whether it's this is more bluesier. It's a 7th chord with that flat 9 we covered, remember? Whether you find yourself on a minorish or a dominant, it's usually going to go to a 2. And the 2 is going to be minor. It's going to be diatonically minor. Remember, 2nd tone of the scale usually creates a minor chord. And that's going to bring us home. So, if you look at it, 7's pulling the 3, 3's pulling the 6, 6 pulling the 2, 5, here's another 5. I know I covered this 5, but there's a particular 5 that'll get you to the 1, but the 1 going to the 4. Remember I said the 1 likes to go to the 4. Well, this 5 right here that we covered, remember this 5? This is a kind of 5 that'll bring you back home for the home run, meaning we don't really want to go anywhere. We're going to end this song, or we're going to at least end this particular voice. It's a perfect cadence. It's coming home. But there's a particular 5 that sets you up to not come home. It's almost like we're on the move. We're trying to get to this G flat. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna like temporarily leave our key, and we're gonna act like this is the 2 of this key. Like the G flat is the A flat here is the 2 of the G flat. So it's kind of moving us like a 2, 5, 1 in the key of G flat. We've like temporarily left, okay? We've gone to the 4. We've changed the tonic for a while. We're substituting. So when we want to do that kind of movement to get us to the 4, we're going to do this A flat minor 9. It's a different kind of chord. And you get G flat, B flat, C flat, but you can call it B, and E flat. Okay, you got that? G flat, B flat, C flat, or B, and E flat. All you gotta do is lower your thumb. So now you got F, B flat, C flat, and E flat. Remember, C flat is another way to say B. They're inharmonic. But now you got D flat on your bass, and that'll take you to that same G flat chord that we were doing in the beginning of this lesson. Remember we were doing that with G flat on the left and F, B flat, and D flat on the right hand? Well, now go. It's just another way to get there. So instead of just going, we're just gonna go. See, we added a circular progression. A flat, D flat, G flat. All we did was put that in the middle. So what allowed us to do that? Timing. Now we got to do these faster, or else we won't get here. As long as you can get to the chords you need to get to in time, you're good to go. You can even back up and do this one. Remember that, the B flat minor 9? Actually, see, these are the same type of chords. This B flat minor 9 is the same as this A flat minor 9. It's just a whole step higher. You could actually do the same pattern where you lower your thumb, just like you lowered your thumb here. You could do that here. You go B flat minor 9, which is B flat on the left. You already learned this. A flat C, D flat F. Lower the thumb to G. So now you got G, C, D flat F. And then your bass is on E flat. And as we know, see, that's the sixth tone of the scale going to the second tone of the scale. We know the second tone likes to go to the fifth tone, but instead of it being this happy fifth tone, we're gonna go to that minor fifth tone that you just learned, lower its thumb, and then go to the 4. So oftentimes that's a 6, 2, 5, 1, 4. So instead we can go. That's a lot. That's in gospel a lot. So we go 1 chord, 6, 2, 5, 1, 4 chord. That's circular all the way. And then a lot of things, what'll happen, it'll go from the 4 to the 7, 3. You learned this, remember that one? The C on the left, the B flat, E flat, G flat. It'll go from there to the F just to repeat it all over again. See? So we started with this. If I was a beginner, I'd just be playing. All I'm going is D flat on my bass, E flat, A flat, D flat on my right hand to G flat. If I was a beginner, I only knew 2 chords, I could do that. I could make up a song, make up a song. Can Jay make up a song? I can make up a song. Can he make a song? I can make a song. With 2 chords, I can make up a song. Y'all know I'm being goofy. Okay, but now think about it. I can make up a song, make up a song. I can make up a song, I can make up a song. I can make up a song, I can make up a song, I can make up a song. And then you can end it. Now this is a come home kind of tune. See, there's different kinds of twos. Some twos are like minor, some twos are like, okay, we really about to go home. Some 5s are minor, but some 5s are, let's really come home. And then